I keep coming back to this particular statement in this book, Why Black Women Hate Black Men. And so far to me, this is the most profound statement in the book. In fact, it's one of the most profound statements I read on the state of black men and boys in quite a while. The head of the household, usually the mother, explains that the family is willing to help the black female attend high school and college instead of the black male, because the family does not want the daughter to end up working as a domestic. The rationale that emerges from my focus group is that the black male can fend for himself by the time he is an adult, and the black female cannot. The black male is left alone to take his chances. The irony of this rationale is that there is no family member, particularly a male, around who is able to teach him how to take his chances. In most circumstances, he learns, usually on the street, that he has no chance of succeeding. No chance leads to low self-esteem. Low self-esteem leads to self-destructive activities. That is a theme that keeps coming back again and again and again and again. I was on our New Styles panel last night, and we're talking about politics, we're talking about education, particularly education, and we're talking about the state of the black family and the black community. And it's one thing me and Art have been trying to pound on these channels, in these spaces, is that the black kids should be prepared to go out and face life the best way they can. I mean, be prepared, not just thrown out to the wolves. Maintain the kid until it gets to a certain age and then boot them out to take the chances. And the women and the girls are actually prepared way more than the men are. And I can't tell you, no, not only my life, but also, my brothers and my sons and all the guys that I know, best friend. Now, unless you get lucky and you happen to be like the baby of the family, and I say if the mother has like 6, 7 kids and you happen to be the last one, the last child gets a lot of help because the children on top of him, especially the boys on top in front of him, will actually come back and actually aid his development, because 9 times out of 10, he's not going to get it from the mother or from his parents. And so me and Art, not going back and forth, but we're going back and forth with the panel and about preparing these children the best way we can, because I kept pounding into their heads. Right? It's like they heard it, but they didn't hear it. I always say, I always said this, I always give this example. I said, who are the most wealthy per capita group in this country? Who are the most degreed group per capita in this country? And I said, and then the last is who is the most studied group in this country. In other words, hours in primary school, how many hours a day they actually study. I did the most and then I do the least. Same questions, right? So I went through that exercise. I asked, okay, per capita, who makes the most money per capita on average, the average salary? And people say white, some people say, whatever, Jewish, and it always comes back Asian, which is correct. Asians, if you look at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, Asians actually make more money, male and female, per capita in this country. And then I asked, who have the most degrees per capita in this country? And again, Asians do have the most degrees in this country. They do, per capita. In fact, I'm going to do a video showing this after this ramble. I think I'm going to probably do that tomorrow on one of my channels. I don't know which one. And I said, okay, well, who studies the most? Primary school, hours per capita, per student. And again, it comes back Asian. Asians earn the most money, even above white men. Well, I always think it's white men. Asians earn like 10% more than white men per capita. Asians have 10% more degrees per capita than white men or white people. And then again, Asians study like an hour more a night than most people. I think it's 4.5 or 5 hours per night that Asians actually study. And then I do the flip side, and I always stress non-immigrant, because the reason Latinos are lower is because most of the Latinos coming in that are in, especially in the school systems, are actually immigrants. So I said non-immigrant groups. Who earn the least amount of money in non-immigrant groups in America? Blacks, black people. Who are the least degreed non-immigrants in this country? It's black people. Who studies the least in this country? Non-immigrant. It's black people. Black people as a group, black men as a group, black people as a group earn 20% to 25% less than white people on average. They have half of the degrees per capita on average, okay? And black people only barely study 2 hours a night. I don't even think they study 2 hours a night. I have to go back and look at it, but it's right around 2, and sometimes it dips below 2 depending on the study. We actually study the least. And I said that's a direct line correlation to the success of the adult as a group. I'm not saying there's always outliers, right? Always outliers. And nobody could deny the stats or the line of logic and the results, because it's not just a logical, for me, it's not even a logical example. It's very concrete. It's proven. It's proven what study after study after study. You can go back 30 years, study after study after study. You see the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And trust and believe, the Asian students actually discriminated against. Believe it or not. This is why they're finally opening their mouths and wanting rights, because they're pissed. They're pissed. They're not pissed at us. They use us as an example. That's all this Asian hate and Asian hate crime. They use us as a face. The actual hate crimes are actually committed by white people. But that's an aside. What was making me mad is that even though it was an obvious direct line of logic, even though what I was saying was obvious, 100% obvious, it was so obvious that they couldn't ignore it, they couldn't deny it, they had to accept it, they had to even agree to it. But there's always a but. It's always a but. But there's other ways of doing things. But there's other ways of learning. But there's other ways of getting discipline. But if you apply discipline, but even, and shout out to Keep It Techie, because I will probably put a link to his channel in the description, because I'm not hating on the brother. In fact, I applaud the brother for struggling mightily against this wave, right? Not W. Du Bois, but, and I'm sure you guys will put it in the description, in the comment section. One of our great scholars back in slavery, Frederick Douglass, as she said, it is better to build strong children than to repair broken men. And when I hear the buts, they're striving to repair broken men. And they always give me the example of how they made it, how they navigated it, and how they got to where they are, and how they do what they do, and how they're trying to pull more black people into tech, right? Keep It Tech yourself. I'm trying to show the tech. I'm trying to interview people. I'm trying to show black men how to get into tech. And I said, how come you can't pull more black people into tech? Why are you struggling so hard? What's the reason? And everybody knows the reason, but nobody wants to admit it. If we just show them, what's possible, if we just show them how to do things, if we just show them that you can actually get out there and do it, then they'll actually follow. And the answer is, I know they believe that. I could tell that they believe that, but the thing is that they know that's not true, because I know they've tried. I know they've tried, because I've tried. And the reason that they're having all these issues, rather than if it was Asian or white or even Latino, okay? Why are they having all these issues? Well, racism is part of it, but the most biggest part of it is black children have not been prepared for this worldview. Black children have been prepared as a consumer and not a maker. And they couldn't see the direct line of correlation of reading and mathematics to black children or black adults getting into tech, getting into business, getting into even trading certain commodities, trading certain currencies, okay? The mind has to be prepared for all that. And so when I mention giving them as much math as possible, even to calculus and higher levels of math, the first thing it says is, well, they don't need it. And it always frustrates me. It always just pisses me off when people say but, because Asians don't do that. White people, for the most part, don't do that. If they're training their children for success, they're trying to make their child the best version of themselves. Now, white boys get a more leeway. Okay, white boy will go back and get his math. A white boy will go back and get more education, who has to go back and actually shore up what he doesn't know. Because white people have way more chances, way more opportunities to actually go out there and do with less. We do not. We have to prepare our children, especially our boys, to be armed with the best knowledge, the best tools that we can actually give them while they're children, so when they get to be adults, there's nothing that they can't do. Now, I could be in a room full of white people, and I could explain that line of logic, and they wouldn't even argue against it. There would be no buts. Now, even though there's alternate ways of educating people and training people for certain trades, like tech is becoming a trade. It's no longer a science, it's a trade. The code camps are popping up because you need to train people as far as basic tech trades in a faster manner. And I agree with that. You streamline everything else out and you give them exactly what they need to do the job. And I agree with that at less cost. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't do the job of giving our children the best education, the best chance possible. But all throughout the conversation, it was a but. It's always a but. It's always a but. And the section that I read from that book, just those couple of paragraphs, shows you that is the dynamic, especially amongst black men. I think black men take pride in not learning anything throughout their formative years, and then if they take their chances and they get lucky and they make it, that's a badge of honor. But Keep It Techie is not going to let his son go through what he went through. That is the irony of it all. Now, his son is going to probably take all the math possible. His son is probably going to be raised properly. His son is going to get all the tools that he needs to succeed. He's not going to let his son not have higher math. He's not going to let his son float by with C's and D's like he did, and then have to get into the military, get disciplined, and then go out and struggle to make the grade. But it's a source of pride that he did it, and he's saying that the other children don't need it. The little black boys can get out there and be wrecks and barely know how to read and have no math skills, and then they get out there and take their chances, and we find a way to fix them. And Frederick Douglass said it's better to build strong children. Build them the right way in the first place so that you don't have to fix them later. Black women are ruining all these boys, are breaking all these boys, manufacturing all these defective boys, and then black men take pride in fixing them. In fact, we're starting to agree. No, we reverse it. What Frederick Douglass said, it's better to fix broken men or broken adults than it is to build strong children, which is the exact reverse of what everybody else does. It doesn't make sense to me. They say that black men and women are working in reverse order of nature, and we think it's just sexual politics. Who should lead? Who should lead the family? Who should actually be the leader of the community, right? We actually do sexual politics, but we never think about it that sexual politics leads to other areas of life, the backward thinking. Black people are the only ones that think that studying the least and then fixing it in post, or fixing it when they grow up, is the best way possible, when every metric that we can actually measure is not. Even Gabe A, who's very smart, went to a technical high school, got his engineering degree. Okay, he said even when he went, he's an exceptional black man as far as black men go, as far as knowledge goes. He said when he got into it, when he got into college, when he got into tech school, the Asians were ahead of him. But it never dawns on people, well, I'm sure it dawns on them, it dawns on them as far as their children are concerned, that the way black people, the black society is doing things is backwards. And their solution is to fix the damaged people or the inadequate people after they get out of school. Now, you can do that, and I know plenty of people that have done that have actually learned by being autodidacts. I'm one of them, and fixing what they don't know. Actually learning what they don't know, actually learning the stuff they should have learned in their first 12 years of school. And that's fine to actually normalize black people and black culture. All you're going to get is a normal person. You won't get exceptional people that way. You won't get the people that you need, because we're always complaining. How come we don't have more black people in tech? How come we don't have more black people making products? How come we don't have more black people making apps? How come there is no black Microsoft or black Facebook or black Amazon or any one of a number of these high-tech companies? The only person that you can actually point to is Robert F. Smith. And you would think that, okay, he's the one that beat the odds. He's the one that made it, right? He's the one that walked the gauntlet. And you look at his background, his parents were educators, okay? Robert F. Smith was actually educated counter to the way the vast majority of black people are educated. Robert F. Smith was basically doing the same thing that Asians did back in the day, or Asians are doing now. Robert F. Smith was actually an engineer. He's closer to Gabe A than he is to Keeper Techie. He was actually prepared to go to MIT. He was prepared. So even though he was an engineer and he went into finance and banking, he was prepared because he was prepared to do anything. He had the tools. Even when it happens in our own community, you take the Nigerian elite to come over here. Why are they so successful and the majority of black people are not? They do the same things. It's not rocket science. Why are Michael Jordan and Kobe so great? They get in the gym 6-7 days a week and they put up 1,000 shots every day. They train 4 hours a day. If you want greatness, that's the kind of dedication you're going to have to put in. But we act like our women, that we're supposed to be born great and we're just supposed to become that. Even our women don't believe that. Why do you think they send the women to school and make sure those women get trained? They don't even believe that, but they believe it for you. What is it about us that we have to do everything in reverse order? Even our men, it's starting to frustrate me, man. It really is. That so many of our men have taken on the thinking of their mothers. Even when you look at an obvious example or obvious facts, not even an example, it's obvious facts. The stats and the facts and the results are so obvious, it's ridiculous. The model's so ridiculous. I remember the book Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mom, talking about how tough she was on her kids so that they would actually succeed in life, right? Which is the Asian way. It was black women that got mad at her. It's not that she wasn't right. It's because the black women didn't want to put in the work. Why do you think it is that other groups are actually focusing on business and succeeding and education and all that kind of stuff those are their heroes. And our heroes are athletes and entertainers, which basically are the same thing. Black people will spend more time teaching their kids rap lyrics and learning how to dance and entertain than they will reading to them. Only 10% of your black boys are at reading level. That's a social crime. Not only by the white society and the white school system, but also by the black society and the black parents. That's a social crime. It's not that hard to get a kid up to 8th grade reading level. Basically, you can get a kid up to 8th grade reading level by the time they're 9, by the time they're in 4th grade. Just by sitting down reading with them for 30 minutes a day and putting books in front of them. Or hell, buy them a cheap $50 tablet and download PDFs of books for free. Have them sit there and read it. Comic books for free. Nobody sits down and reads with the kids. Everybody wants basically the kid to be entertained, put them in front of the TV and get them off their nerves. Then it's you know what, I don't mean to vent. I'm gonna put the mic down and stop venting. It's just frustrating. And it's one thing, I expected to hear it out of black women's mouths, okay? Because I know they won't do shit, because they don't think we're shit anyway. Because if they did think we were worth something, they would invest in us. Black women don't really think we're worth investing in, which is really the crux of the problem. That black women don't think we're worth investing in, that black men are worth investing in. They'll figure it out. And black men over the generations come to believe it about themselves. I've heard it coming out of older black men's mouths, that black boys really aren't worth investing in. They'll get to be 16, 17, 18 and they'll figure it out. It used to be they're 11 and 12 and they didn't need to get any education past the 6th grade. Hell, if you look at the Mohawk Conference, they didn't believe black men needed to learn how to write. Black men really didn't even know how to write for the most part. The vast majority of black men didn't even know how to write until the 50s. The vast majority of black men didn't graduate high school until the Kerner Commission. Before the Kerner Commission, only 23% of black men actually graduated from high school, which was half of what happened to white men. Now, white men wasn't 100%, it wasn't 90%. It's only about 56%, 56, 70%, 60%. But only less than 25% of black men graduated from high school prior to the Kerner Commission. 75% of your valedictorians from high school were women. Black women have always been more educated than you. It's because the black community didn't think you were worth investing in. And unfortunately, that thought, that sentiment, that legacy has been passed down to the present day. Even educated men, they have found success. Now, individually, do you think their child, their son is going to be undereducated? No, they're going to make sure. Keep It Techie's already got his kid coding, already has his kid prepared to the next level. But when you get online, you get in front of people, you want to advocate for black men. Before I get too aggravated and vent and say something I shouldn't, I'm actually going to stop. When are we going to get to the point where we throw our boys out on the street when they get 18 and expect them to take their chances without being prepared? I'm just saying. With that, I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to put the mic down and I'm going to put my soapbox up and cool off, because this is very personal to me. And I see the black community slowly circling the toilet. Not the drain, but the toilet. And I guess we're good with that. But I'm going to drop the mic and I'm going to say goodbye for now. It's PGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.